guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing so great. Today we're going to study a new topic, adjective clauses with who, that, and where. So let's start. Adjective clauses. An adjective clause, also called relative clause, is a dependent clause that modifies a noun or pronoun. It tells which one or what kind. Adjective clauses almost always come right after the nouns they modify. So, examples. The first one, there is the mountain that we are going to climb. If you notice here, you have an independent sentence and an dependent sentence. In this case, the antecedent is mountain. So there is the mountain. So you have that connects the clause we are going to climb that with the antecedent mountain in this case. So also answer the question which one? So which mountain? That one that we are going to climb. Yes? Also you have the second example. My blue tennis shoes, which used to be my mom's, were under the bed. So, what is the antecedent here? Blue shoes, right? Or shoes in this case. So, which is a pronoun replacing shoes in the dependent clause? Shoes used to be my mom's and relating it to the subject of the independent clause. So it is related to blue tennis shoes. So that's why you are using which. So you are answering the question, which shoes in this case? My blue tennis shoes, right? So you are answered that question. And you have a dependent clause and an independent one. 3. Daniel, who was late again today, sits next to me in English. So the antecedent in this case or the subject is Daniel, right? So Daniel sits next to me in English. That is the independent clause or the independent sentence here. You have the subject, the verbs, and that is a complete sentence. So you need the dependent clause in this case. Who was late again today? If you don't want to say that, you just need to say Daniel sits next to me in English. But here you are adding like an extra information about the subject. That's why you are using an adjective clause. So you can write it between commas. Using dependent clauses is a way of combining sentences. For example, if you have Daniel was late again today, you have to use an adjective clause that modifies the subject. In this case, Daniel sits next to me in English. So, with an adjective clause, you're going to have Daniel, who was late again today, sits next to me in English. Who was late again today? That is like an extra information about Daniel, right? Or about the action or what is happening there. And also you have the antecedent, Daniel, and then you have the independent, clause. You say, Daniel sits next to me in English, right? With relative pronouns, an adjective clause generally begins with a relative pronoun, that, which, who, whom, whose. With understood pronouns, sometimes the relative pronoun is understood and not written in the sentence. For example, the teacher I had in 5th grade really inspired me. So, in this case, you don't have to mention the relative pronoun. It will be right. The teacher whom I had in fifth grade really inspired me. But you understood, or you have already understood, and what is the relative pronoun, and you don't need it to write it. That's why you can admit it. So the teacher whom, that is implicit there, right? The teacher I had in fifth grade really inspired me. So if you understood, you cannot write, or you don't have to write the relative pronoun there, right? With relative adverbs, adjective clauses can also start with the relative adverbs where, when, and why. They connect the dependent clause to a noun in the sentence. The relative adverb modifies the verb in the dependent clause. Let's see some examples. That is the bench where you and I were supposed to meet. So also you have that is the bench, right? That is like the independent clause, and where you and I were supposed to meet, that is the dependent one. You are joining that with a relative adverb, where, right? That is the reason why I couldn't meet you. So that is the reason, the independent clause, and then you have the dependent one that starts with a relative adverb, why. So why I couldn't meet you. Then you have 6 o'clock was the time when we were supposed to be there, right? So went, that is another relative adverb here. So you have an adjective clause. 6 o'clock was the time, that is the independent one, and when we were supposed to be there, the dependent one, right? So guys, that's all for today. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.